All right, no music, no nothing, no prep, no picture except for the one that's up there. Hey guys, it's Crusty Old Crow back with another Customs the Crow's Creation Custom, no, Crow's Customs Corner. Pardon me. You figure out how to have it memorized by now, but like I said, that C, it stands for so much. Sometimes even the Crow forgets. Working on Wolverines, using cheap garbage characters. By garbage, I mean they're not trash. It's just that they are thrift store finds, dollar store finds, everything but a character at full price. And I'm not, like, these are the rules I have, is to be really fiscally cheap with background characters because, one, it's a game to me. Absolutely, it's a game to me. This is a hobby and I'm having fun. Why not shine up a piece of coal, see if it's a diamond, right? So I like the idea and the challenges behind what I'm doing, which is restricting myself to, you know, when it comes to background character making. What I mean by background is troop builders that are not in the front rank, that are behind other characters, or scenes or diorama characters that are just eyewitnesses or victims. When it comes to all that, I see the amount of money being tossed at that, and I'm like, man, yeah, I'd be single. My kid would hate me. I'd be living in a car. But I'd have a fine Joe collection in the trunk. All the same character. No, it just doesn't work for every kind of shelf, right? But this challenge of making one at a dollar store and crap that people would never look at before, man, is this fun. Thank you, Grievance, for the Red Dawn idea. Now that I'm on the front of that, I have some stuff that I'm ready to show, just as far as it's not done, but you can now start to see what I was seeing, where it would take form, and why I was saying it would work. That's my kid coming home like a herd of elephants. I'm trying to get this video out because we're gonna go, I gotta go work at his cadets tonight. Yeah, so I apologize. I'll try and not get distracted by that. But so one of the characters I'm working with out of this, like I said, it's all dollar store characters that I picked up at some point. And just one sec, yeah. So it's all dollar store characters that I picked up at one point, and maybe if I raise my voice, he'll get the point that I am recording. And yeah, that worked. And so when I'm using these, that's the rule, but they're really crappy little, like, not very articulate, but they'll have a little bit of articulation. This is the one that came with the My Hero Academia stage that I have in the background. That's in a few of my videos now. You know, by the way, it's part of that prize package for the 350 contest. If you don't know what the 350 contest is, just scroll down my channel. Eventually you'll see me holding up a sign going, enter here. And that's the video. And just make sure you follow the rules to enter that contest. Could win yourself a new Joe, based off what I can find here in the wilds of Ottawa. I'll have a talk, see what you need, and see what I can get. And then you'll also win the conversion you describe as your entry, and some other great prizes provided to us by, like, Loki Wartooth and the Wilds of Ottawa. Anyways, yeah, so what I've been doing, you guys have seen it before. It's black Krylon 2-on-1, and then I dry brush the gray over it, and then I dry brush the white over that if I want to, say, reflect winter whites and things like that. I have to contend with these crappy heads. I tried doing a green stuff thing. It's starting to look like Bane's bastard child, and I'm probably not going to go with that. I have the out. I can rip green stuff off. I can you know, just go scarves up and just cover it, and I have to correct the eyes. An example of what I mean by correcting eyes, guys, if you guys are very familiar, and most of you are, with anime, they really like white guy eyes, guilo eyes, right? Ghost eyes. We white people have the biggest eyes in all anime, and everything we say, if we're hyped, our eyes now take up the entire left and right sides of our head, leaving just much the forehead. That doesn't reflect well on a figure where the head sculpt is the right size and proportions, but they just phone it in because it's an anime face. But there is stuff you can work on there. All I did was this, is I wasn't going to take it too seriously because I knew I could cover it up with a scarf and goggles if I needed to, but I wanted to retain the heads because I don't want to give up one of Loki's fine 3D prints to these. They're off scale, first of all. So is every classified. But again, the challenge is if it doesn't work, can you make it work, right? And I'm just doing my best to kind of meet that challenge. So there's plans to correct all that, but I'll give you an example of a head that did kind of work. Here it is. So this guy, I'm putting this head on that body because I think it'll work better. I'm going to build this up to winter whites using green stuff. You'll see some or soft stuff. He's going to be in the winter white camouflage. That's not in this picture. They're in their whites in these pictures over here. So there, yeah, that's the gray one. So this guy is going to end up being that body. And then this will just be a generic white one. I'm not sure who I'll make this or the head because it doesn't really suit any of the key characters. I might just add a Wolverine or try to make a aardvark, right? The aardvark, Robert, Matthew, and Jed, and Tony, and Erica. Those are the ones I was kind of dancing around. So yeah, this is the one that I'm working on right now, which is Charlie Sheen's character. I can't remember. Oh god, the names all blend into one after a while, and it's been so long since I watched this movie, but it's this camouflage pattern that Charlie Sheen's wearing. When I read Grievance's comment, I was like, yep, absolutely, yep. So it's that Russian tanker jumpsuit, like it's crewman jumpsuit. That he's taken off a Russian body, clearly, or Russian supplies. There's a couple of tones of green is in there. There's the one that you see at the base, which for me, I did in Angel Green from Vallejo. It's the green I had closest. It wasn't quite olive drab. I didn't want it to be quite olive drab. That's US and Canada's green choice. This seemed a little bit more foresty in its two tones, so I used that one. And I used actually a bit of the US Air Force green, but I know it says airbrush, but for the small areas, but I'm going to layer over that with something that makes it pop out a little bit more because it's very hard to see that separation. But that was just as a good base point of where I kind of want to set I think that's going to be a forest green, like a darker green, and I'm going to probably soften things up in between with a little bit of a lighter green secondary detailing, but I'll separate that. But that's how that gets started. Then I'll do the kit ads. The scarf that isn't present on Charlie Sheen will get built up to do that, but I did add green stuff to try and make that Russian fur toque. I'll have to prime base and do some stuff with that to get it looking like Sheener's toque there, Mr. Winning, right? So I just wanted you to see that's kind of what you're going to see. Is you're going to see a variety of these kind of figurines where it's like, yeah, I can kind of recognize the paint scheme, but the figurine's a little off. Why? That's why. All right, and that's the effort. Somebody else, I would not blame anybody else for taking on this one, this Red Dawn, and doing it and spending the top dollars on the figures to do it the best way, or order some gridiron, get the right heads, get all that stuff taken care of, and I will applaud you. But that's not going to be the Crow. The Crow is a hobby enthusiast, but he wants to move on to other things, and he will set that budget because he likes having a family. He likes it. I like my family. I want them to stick around. I don't want to live in a shanty. So yeah, that's what I'm working on there. I'm going to quickly share with you a couple other concepts that I'm going to work on. Just on the sketchbook while we're going. I told you I wasn't going to leave Andy Power's booth out of it. That's what the second Mercer fig is going to go for, I think. I tossed around some ideas of low light or who else could I put on this figure. I think it's, and I even thought about Mercer being this one. Mercer's going to get his own classified fig, so I'm going to use classified stuff for that. But Andy Power's booth, he's going to be the taller of the two, right? He's going to tower over these kids. So that's, like I said, it's a variation on Red Dawn's Wolverines using bargain fan figures, thrift store figures, dollar store figures, figures donated to me by the very generous subscribers to whom I owe so many thanks and so much more. I'm going to earn why you sent that stuff, Digital Diarrhea. I'm going to tell you that right now. I have so many plans for some of this, and I want to share one of them. Digital diarrhea, if you don't know what I'm talking, like you guys don't know what I'm talking about, he sent me a gift box. He gifted me a bunch of stuff, and he allowed me to buy an eel off him. And the eel's going retro, and everybody is scalping. You got took, bro. No, he charged me nothing for it. Like he charged me what you would pay any other figure, even less, because we worked out. But he gave me so many. These aren't cheap figures he gave me. These are figures he bought with an intent to do something within his own customs. But when he saw my channel, he wanted to support it, and he knew which ideas I think he was going to tackle and which ones were just so far back on the back bench he'd rather see them go to somebody else. There was a couple in there that really sparked my ideas, and a few that really worked for the contest that I'm doing. So I was so appreciative. And the truth is, like one of the O2 ones has like it was, I couldn't figure out what it was, and I had to hang on to one of them for the contest. But there was, the guy that was all shiny metal, he's in the box right now. That one, I there's some custom ideas in there for sure, 100%. I couldn't get over it, and I knew that right away. But the ones that I was like, oh no, I said I'd never do this again, I'm absolutely doing it again. McFarlane's. He sent a Cyberpunk McFarlane, and he sent another artist proof 40K McFarlane, and I can't get them off my mind. And I figured out why. The Cyberpunk one has a lot of potential to be a lot of things. It's a large figure, and if you're dealing with 7-inch McFarlane figure, you're dealing with whatever is going to be your giant in the squad. They don't fit organically to the smaller figures in the Joe Classified. At best, you get away with taking the smallest of McFarlane figures, and he's like Roadblock. That's at best comparison. At worst, they tower above them, and sometimes it's not even possible, right? That's why I limited myself to the ones I bought. But when I saw this one, and I saw how articulate it actually was, I knew I was going to do something. But this Necron, right? I talked about this with you guys, and I said, oh man, I can't seem to leave this one alone. I have to do something with this. And I figured out what it is. The thing about my Endstate, the brain cannon was, I have to figure out what happened to everybody and everything, right? And if I don't like Joe stuff, you see, I change it. If I don't like something, I'll paint it. If something doesn't exist and I want it there, I'll create it. Or I'll talk about it and draw it and tell you I'm going to create it. But I have created things that I see an absence of. You've seen my custom creation. It's built up fast. I have hated Cobra Law since the day of its inception. I really have. No, not a fan at all of Globulus, Serpentor, or Nemesis Enforcer in the concept. That made what was already like almost unforgivably ridiculous about how Cobra was being built up as you watch. Like, that was acceptable for a child. They were still the enemy and they were still an army. But when you added the Cobra Law stuff, you changed the dynamic of the entire story of the G.I. Joe Cobra battle into something very new and different. And it wasn't received by all of us, right? And I never got on board. At best, what I could say was that Serpentor figure amazed me in its artistry, craftsmanship, just overall presentation was top notch. I respect that figure. Do I want a Serpentor? Absolutely. I respect that figure. Same category as any other figure I have the highest amount of respect for, like Blood, right? And yeah, but of course, they're exclusive items. You pay for that respect, right? But I didn't like the look. I hate seeing this guy walk around dressed up like a snake, right? Like, he just seems like somebody put an insane furry in charge of an army. It was hard enough with Cobra Commander's voice, but it's Serpentor. But I understood the appeal, and I could get behind it. If I was a bit younger, maybe I would have gotten behind it more. But Cobra annoys the shit out of me. The Globulus annoys the fucking shit out of me. I don't care if you had an obsolete old celebrity doing them. It didn't make any of them more relevant to me in that cartoon. But this, okay, back to the point. If you follow 40K lore, and last night we all tuned into Punk with Toys, we got some recommendations, and pardon me, I'm just learning the guy's name, but I can't recall it off the top of my head. But we got some references to a new 40K channel that's starting up, and I did subscribe to him, and you know what? I gotta call him up because Punk put us on to him, and I feel bad to 40K guys in the toy market right now that are fans trying to follow along looking for their toys, right? Yeah, everybody knows about Joy Toy, but it seems not a lot of people like to talk about this kind of stuff. So I'm trying to remember which was the one that Punk talked us onto the other night. And while I look at it, no, not Warmaths, Black Genghis, thank you. I think no, Black Genghis was one, and then there was it Wraith Mace? Maybe it was Wraith Mace I subscribed to. There were two guys, and I did subscribe to them last night. One of them does 40K, and I was like, yeah, I should support it because it's hard, yeah. You'll find a lot of game lore, written lore, all that stuff, but when it comes to figures, you're not going to find stuff that talks about it, I guess. I don't know. Seems that way. Not when it's compatible with Joe line stuff. Like, when those two brain properties converge, it seems to be a short conversation. Strange, considering how great Gaunt's Ghosts are. I really want to do a Gaunt's Ghost for Classified, by the way. It's going to happen. At least McCall and McVenner. Possibly some others. I don't know if I would do a Commissar Gaunt, but I might do like a veteran Gaunt. I just really want to tackle Gaunt's Ghost on a Joe Classified scale at some point. And that's one of the ideas that came when I was staring at this thing the other night going, where is it? I think I'm going to do some chicanery, and this is going to be my version of a Nemesis. That's why I'm not saying Enforcer or Immortal, because it's just an entire re-envisioning of the entire concept. I have to, just somewhere inside my brain housing group, there's a piston firing like, not gonna stop. I've got to do something about Cobra Law. Like I said, it's one of my rules. If you're gonna bitch and complain and moan about something, then do something about it, or just be quiet, right? So yeah, I want to be free to bitch and complain and moan, so I better do something about it. So I'm gonna try and do up a cool little Nemesis Enforcer out of that one, and see where that goes. So while I'm in England, I'll be doing a lot of concept sketches and trying to figure out where I'm going to change this. I think I know where I'm going with it, but I want to be open to my own changes, right? Because while this thing is just way too articulate and glorious, but it will need things added to it, and I need to change the image of it. But the other part of this is, to me, Cobra Law was always rooted in almost Egyptian-like mythology, you know, following a serpent as opposed to a cat or a sun god or a hybrid jackal or whatever. It just seemed like kind of rooted in there. And then they worked in that crustacean shit, and I was like, whatever. It just seemed like Egyptian mythology. And this is a very Egyptian-looking, kind of pharaoh mummy-esque kind of cybernetic undead figure, like the Terminator, but if you follow the lore, they're actually very, very powerful beings. But I think if I were to just do some sort of covering over a lot of these typical Necron features, what you are left with is a very skeletoid, humanoid body that is very workable with, say, my concept of I think one of the words I was looking at was Nemesis sentient. Like, what would happen if an AI printed his own body? You know, because, yeah, something to address that lore and to say, all right, I've paid attention to it for a moment. This is me expressing my love of Joe in a different way. So we got that. So Digital Diarrhea, I can't thank you enough for the imagination kind of factor that you've unlocked in all of that. Yeah, what was the other conversions I was drafting up was finishing off the Wolverines, finishing off a low light. I'm working at looking up some pieces of those, but the last part, I'm gonna kind of keep this a shorter video because I got to get ready for my kids' cadets, guys. And sci-fi, I want to finish them up before I leave for England, but I don't know. I keep seeing little more ads that I got to do, and I want to do it right. I'm not in love with my sci-fi right now, but I could be. Could just be a little thing. What I wanted to talk about the most, Loki Wartooth, Aaron the Toy and Answer, Crimson Vader 07, anybody in Canada right now, Riley Cross, if you're still with us, I don't know if you are, I haven't heard from you in a while. That's fine if you're not. It's, you know, take or leave the crew. You can always come back when you want, guys. I'm around. These are showing up at Canadian dollar stores for about $4.50 to $5. They're super available. People are passing them by. They come with little mini accessories. Some are shitty, some aren't. Some are passable. I failed to grab them and set them aside. I want to see if I just left them laying in the back of the bin here. Perhaps were they in this bin? No, I'm never that lucky to get it right the first time. This is a Baroness dollar store figure. Of all things, right? 6-inch Baroness dollar store figure. Wait a minute. Yes, 6-inch. Ryan, are you bending those joints, Crow? Yeah, I am. I'm bending and swiveling them, right? Whose head is that? That's one of Loki Wartooth's female heads, female Cobra heads. He provided me a couple. They both fit on these. Oh, look at that. There's some posability here. Is it classified level articulation? No, but it's not far off, guys. And dirt cheap, right? And hey, Crow, why don't you just go stick that up next to prove that you are showing us something that we need to know about. Okay, I want to stop talking like that. It makes you weird. Okay, so there's a scale. You see how she fits in? Get an actual classified, you self-promoting son of a bitch. Okay. No, you bastard. She should be near Cobra. Oh my God. All you want to do is show off your toys. Yeah, no, I'm actually going to remind you guys. I do have plans when I get back from England to dry brush this stuff. But hang on a minute. Now you're seeing what I'm seeing, right? While this was designed to be a Baroness character, we'll just lean her over the ninja there. While that's designed to be a Baroness character, with a 3D printed head over it, it actually becomes just a standard female troop, like a Valkyrie almost. Or a special character if you just want one. Right? But what I'm looking at is a troop builder I can acquire for less than $5 Canadian at most times. And there's different variations. There is a Scarlet, or sorry, not a Scarlet. There is the Baroness here. They have a Snake Eyes. I think they have a Night Creeper. They've got a few, and I am going on the hunt for them when I get back from England, because most of the Canadian dollar stores seem to have these. And I can get 3D printed heads and slap them on there, and I have a very cheap background character, much like what my rules were for the Wolverine. That's a really good background formation troop without, you know, you tuck them in behind your classified figures for scene development, or just make your shelf look more populated. You see where I'm going with that. So that's it for this one today, guys. I got to get ready for my kids' cadets where I'm volunteering to go be the NCM. Oh God, it's run by officers, guys. Ugh, don't get me started by things run by officers. Officers are fine people, but man, the NCM level, we notice everything missing now. But yeah, I'm gonna go play with that, and then I will make another video tomorrow, and that should be the last video I do before I leave for England. So thanks very much, guys. If you're on any lives tonight, you'll see me there. I think if Aaron's showing up on doing a live tonight, Aaron the Toy and Answer, you'll see me on there as soon as I get back from cadets. And yeah, we'll all have a good time together. Hope to see you tonight, guys. Bye.